Close your eyes. Imagine a world without light, without gravity, without the ticking of a clock. Imagine a silence so profound that it has no beginning and no end. We are obsessed with origins. We asked where the universe came from. We ask where we came from. But there is a question that haunts the edges of human consciousness, a question that predates the Big Bang, predates the angels, and predates the very concept of existence as we know it. Who was God? Before he was creator, before the first star ignited to pierce the velvet darkness of space, before the first atom spun into being, what was happening in the silence? Was God lonely? Was he waiting, or was there a reality so complex, so full, and so terrifyingly beautiful that the human mind can barely scrape its surface? The ancient Greeks called this the apiranda, boundless. The Gnostics whispered of the pleroma, the fullness. But the Hebrew scribes, writing on parchment in the dusty tents of the Sinai, gave us a different answer. They introduced us not to a force, but to a face. In this transmission, we are going to step outside of time. We will journey past the boundaries of the physical universe to decode the identity of the being who inhabits eternity. We are not just asking who is God. We are asking, what was the great I am doing? Alone. Take a deep breath. We are leaving the timeline. To understand the before, we must first dismantle our perception of time. We live in a linear reality, past, present, future. A straight line. But the ancients understood that God does not live on the timeline. He holds the timeline in his hand. Theologians call this attribute Aseity, from the Latin esse, meaning from himself. It is the concept of absolute self-existence. Every object in this universe is dependent. A flower needs the sun needs hydrogen. You need oxygen, but God needs nothing. In the Enuma Elish of Babylon or the Theogony of Greece, the gods are born. They emerge from chaos. They fight. They bleed. They usurp their fathers. Zeus kills Kronos. Marduk kills Tiamat. But the Bible opens with a shocking singularity. Bereshed bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created. He is not born from the chaos. He imposes order upon it. Psalm 92 declares, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. The phrase from everlasting to everlasting in Hebrew is mil. It implies a vanishing point in both directions. Now, look at the burning bush. Exodus 3:14. When Moses asks for a Nemahenda to grasp this infinite being, God refuses to give a noun. He gives a verb. I, aser. I am who I am. Or more accurately, I will be what I will be. This is not just a name. It is a metaphysical statement. God is sajing. I do not become. I do not evolve. I simply is. He is the unmoved mover of Aristotle, but with a personality. He is the source that flows, but never empties. Acts 17:25 confirms this radical independence. He is not served by human hands, as if he needed anything. So, if he needs nothing, if he was sitting in perfect, self-sufficient fullness before the dawn of time, why create? Why break the silence? To unswear that we must look at what was happening inside the silence. Here lies the greatest misconception about the pre-creation God. We often imagine him as a solitary monk, sitting in a dark room, bored, waiting for a pet to play with. I am lonely, the solitary God thinks, so I will make man. This idea is not only wrong, it is pagan. A solitary God needs creation to experience love. A solitary God is dependent on his creation. But the God of the Bible is not solitary. He is a community. Before Genesis 1:1, God was not alone. He was in communion. This is the mystery of the Trinity. One essence, three persons. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Listen to the words of Jesus in John 17:24. peeling back the curtain of time. Father, you loved me before the foundation of the world. Freeze that frame. Before there was a world, there was love. For love to exist, there must be a lover the Father, a beloved the Son, and the spirit of love flowing between them. St. Augustine described the Spirit as the bond of love, vinculum amorisi, between the Father and Son. This changes everything. It means that God is not becoming loving by creating us. He is love by definition. If God were a single person, Unitarian, he could be loving, but he could not be love in essence, because before creation, he had no one to love. But because he is triune, love is not something God does. It is who God is. The Gnostics, in texts like the Apocryphon of John, imagined a God who emanated lower beings by mistake or accident. They saw creation as a tragedia, fall from the pleroma. But the biblical narrative reveals creation not as a fall, but as an overflow. Imagine a fountain. It doesn't flow because it needs to empty itself. It flows because it is too full to contain itself. God created the universe not to get love, but to share the love that was already exploding between the Father, Son, and Spirit. He wanted to invite others into the dance. This is the secret of Ephesians 1-4. He chose us in him before the foundation of the world. Before the architect laid the first brick of reality, he had already written your name on the guest list. Now, let's bring this into the cold light of our reality. We often view history as a series of accidents. Wars happen. Plagues happen. We scramble to fix them. We assume God is doing the same, reacting to our mess. But the God before time challenges this anxiety. If God is truly outside of time, looking at the parade of history from the balcony of eternity, then nothing is a surprise. Consider 2 Timothy 1:9. This grace was given us in Christ Jesus before the beginning of time. Wait. How can you give grace which is unmerited favor for sinners before anyone has sinned? Before anyone even exists? This implies that the solution was drafted before the problem occurred. The Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world, Revelation 13:8. In our modern world, we obsess over Plan B. We assume our failures have derailed God's plan, but the pre-creation God doesn't have a Plan B. He knew the fall would happen. He knew the cost. And he created anyway. Why? Because the glory of redeeming a broken thing was greater than the glory of creating a perfect thing that never had a choice. The Gnostics believed the material world was a trap, a mistake by a lesser god, the demiurge. They sought to escape it. But the biblical view is far more radical. Matter isn't a mistake. It is the canvas for the greatest act of love in history. The I Am didn't just stay in the eternal silence. He wrote himself into the play, John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. The eternal stepped into the temporary. The infinite became an infant. Why? To bring the outside eternity into the inside time. To turn the finite into the infinite. This gives us a philosophical anchor in a chaotic age. If your life was thought of before the stars were lit, then you are not a biological accident. You are not random debris floating on a rock. You are a deliberate thought in the mind of an eternal genius. And unlike the changing shadows of this world, markets crashing, nations falling, bodies aging, this God does not shift. Malachi 3:6. For I, the Lord, do not change. We started in the dark, in the void before time. We found not a monster, not a myth, but a Father, a God who is self-sufficient, yet seeks relationship, a God who needs nothing, yet gives everything. The story of the Bible is not just about God creating a world. It is about God expanding his family. Revelation 21 ends where Genesis begun, but better. Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. We are heading back to the garden, but this time it is a city. The God who was before is also the God who is after. He is the Alpha, the origin, and the Omega, the goal. So, when you look up at the night sky, realize that the stars are merely the decorations in the house he built for you. You were loved before they were lit, and you will be loved long after they burn out. This is the origin. And this is the destiny. You are invited into the eternal circle. The question is not, who is God? The question is, will you step into the dance?